I've been in a nostalgic mood lately, mainly reliving all those early 2000s shoujo anime I grew up with, like Yumeiro Patissiere, Shugo Chara, Fruit Basket, Pretty Rhythm, Mermaid Melody, Ouran High School Host Club, Shugo Rune, Princess Tutu, Phantom Thief Jeanne, if anyone remembers that one. There's probably tons of others that I'm just forgetting. I just finished watching Fruit Basket 2019 version, and I don't know why I waited so long to do so, but I finally did. And I binge watched all 3 seasons in 2 days. So, safe to say, I cried a lot, and amidst all my tears, I remember another series that made me cry a lot, and that is Gakuen Alice, which I always feel like I'm pronouncing it wrong. So, in order to not butcher this lovely series name, I'm going to be referring to it as its alternative name, Alice Academy. I want to talk about why I think Alice Academy deserves a reboot, not just a remake, but a reboot. In the case of Fruit Basket, people wanted a reboot so it would more closely follow the manga. For Alice Academy, though, I would still want it to follow the manga, but with a few slight tweaks to the story. And I just found out that Kimi ni Todoke is releasing its 3rd season after 13 years, which I'm so hyped for. So I don't think it's too far-fetched to ask for Alice Academy to get a reboot after 20 years. But before that, I'll give a brief rundown of the plot for the uninitiated, or for those who need a refresher. We first meet Mikan, who grew up in the countryside alongside her grandpa. We see that her and her best friend Hotaru are inseparable. That is until Hotaru gets transferred to an academy in Tokyo that's meant for people with Alices. And an Alice can include a wide range of abilities, from ones you've probably heard of, like controlling fire, being able to fly, to reading minds, to more obscure and unique ones, such as farts that can knock you unconscious, shadow manipulation, and the ability to make stuffed animals come to life. We find out that Mikan has the ability to nullify other Alices, so a lot of the story is Mikan learning about her newfound powers and how to adjust to academy life. And we slowly but surely get revealed to an array cast of characters as we learn more about the true history of the academy and kind of why it was founded in the first place. I think the part that really resonated with me the most was at the heart of everything was friendship. Because sure, while most animes include friendship to some degree, I thought Alice Academy was unique in the fact that the catalyst for the whole entire story was because one girl wanted to be reunited with her best friend no matter what. And it's not like that school in particular was interesting to her. It could have been any school located anywhere, and Mikan would have found a way to be with her friend Hotaru again, even if she had to go to the ends of the earth. Although there are many characters at play, we have kind of our central four. Mikan and her best friend Hotaru, and then Natsume and his best friend Ruka. Those are kind of the reoccurring four we always see. And it's so weird going from the anime to manga, because the anime does come off as this very happy-go-lucky and comical shoujo anime, while the manga is a lot more dark and depressing in nature, especially as you learn of the backstory of each character and how the academy itself, rather than it being a place to protect those with Alices, it feels more like they're trapped in a cage, cut off from the outside world. I do feel like a reboot could not only express more of the somber tone that's presented in the manga, but also rectify, per se, some of the issues, if you will, within the manga. Without giving too many spoilers, here are some of the issues that I have and have seen fellow readers express as well. I just will say this isn't totally spoiler free, but I don't think any of the spoilers I'm giving will deter or take away from the viewing experience, if that makes sense. But if you want a totally spoiler-free experience, then you can click off now. That's fine too. For one, how much attention and chapters were given to Mikan's mother's backstory. It's kind of like a filler episode where sure, it can be cute for an episode or two, but if your filler is as long as an entire story arc, then I might start having some issues. At that point, I would rather you just take a break and come back with something fresh that involves the main story. Sure, waiting sucks, but so does a series of fillers. And I feel bad for saying this, but why am I reading 25 plus chapters about someone who's already dead, or at the very least was on the verge of dying? Unless they plan to resurrect themselves, can we lay their story to rest already and move on? Like, what's going on? And truthfully speaking, I wouldn't want to read 25 plus chapters dedicated to any character's backstory, dead or alive. It's just too much. Next is Mikan's and Natsume's love story after their separation, or rather lack thereof. And there are so many mangas that do this. You'll go through this long slog or slow burn for the main couple to get together, only for the story to end right there. What do you mean I can't see them going on dates? What do you mean I can't see their metaphorical children running around in front of their house? What do you mean I can't see them shop for groceries together on a random Tuesday afternoon? I don't think that's too much to ask for, right? To just see the final couple actually be a couple, not just them confess to one another and you end the series right then and there. Is that too much to ask? So, yeah. And the final gripe I and others have is the open-ended ending, or rather the vagueness of the ending, which pretty much centers around them finding one character, which if you've seen the ending, you know who I'm talking about. Although sure, real life doesn't always have this perfectly neatly wrapped up with a bow type endings, I feel like with a fictional story as sweet and as lovable as this one, they should have that type of ending instead of the bittersweet one we got, which was a lot more bitter than sweet. Even leading up to the ending, everything felt really heavy and dark, especially if you're someone who's watched the anime first and then the manga like me. It's just such a tonal shift. And I guess when you think about it, the ending made the story come full circle if you consider how it started off. But the thing is, I didn't want it to come full circle. I wanted it to do like a squiggly line where sure there's some hiccups and bumps in the road and it's all about the journey, but at the end of the day there's still a defined beginning and ending. So yeah. I hope me saying all this doesn't deter you from actually reading the manga or watching the anime, because it really is a great series despite whatever gripes I or others might have with it. I think the reason I so badly want a reboot and for some of the story aspects to be tweaked to a certain extent is because the story is so beloved. I want others to experience that same joy it brought me without, some of the added angst. And I also admit it'd be pretty cool to see how it would look animated 20 years later. And I like for them to keep the same style, similar to what Kimi ni Todoke is doing, but I think a lot of people would resonate with Alice Academy. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know your thoughts down below if you've watched or read Alice Academy for yourself. Would you want a reboot if it could happen? Are there any other changes you would make? Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I'm Thorn, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye-bye.